everyone. Happy Friday. First Friday I have seen you in December since we were out last Friday. I have two phenomenal guests joining me for this Friday Live with Lauren. I'm going to bring them on one by one. Everybody say hello to Ivana and Evan. Yeah,
Hello.
lovely
Hi.
stuff. So Yvonne and Evan are my special guests today. I'm super excited to have them on. We have some great topics we're going to go about with all of you. But I want to let you know now, we want to answer your questions. So if you have questions for any of us about anything we're going to talk about, ask your questions in the chat so that we can answer those for you today. All right, so perfect. Evan, I'm going to let you go first. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name's Evan Patterson. You can call me Evan or Ev. Either is fine. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am a fractional VP of Marketing and Sales over at Rocket Science Branding. I'm also a co-host and social media manager and partnerships random dude over at Other Side of Sales, as well as 16 other possible side hustles, as we all know I do. So great to meet you all. I talk a lot about social selling, personal branding, community marketing, influence marketing, and how not to be a boring, misogynistic, egotistical, racist asshole.
We're going to cover all of that in the show today, aren't you?
Yes.
Awesome. And we also have Ivana. Ivana, why don't you tell us about yourself? Where are you joining us
Okay.
from?
Yes, so I'm joining you from Serbia. So it's a pretty small country in the Eastern Europe. And basically, I'm a co-founder of OutwardIn. I guess that some of the people that are joining this event already have the tool.
I
It is
love
a tool
it.
to thank you. I know that Lauren loves it as well, so it's really great to be able to discuss all stuff around LinkedIn, around social selling, and how we help content creators. So I'm definitely happy to respond to any answer that you can have about social selling, LinkedIn algorithm, LinkedIn code, what we are doing, etc.
And I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but you actually find out about features that are coming for LinkedIn before we do.
Yes. So basically, because we are developing on LinkedIn, so we are semi-integrated into LinkedIn, we are able to read the code much better than other people. I guess that not many people are reading what is there. So we found, let's say, about 300 features that are coming. About 200 are usually just some bug fixes and for recruiter side or for ads. However, there are like 20 to 30 very significant features. Some of them that we found out 3 months before it was released is scheduling. Also, right now we have a new feature that is coming that we guess it is coming in Q1, and that is the feature where companies will be able to promote posts from people. So companies will be able to put money into ads and to promote your post if you're a content creator promoting their product.
Ooh.
That's
I get
incredible.
to change my rate structure.
You
I mean,
should right now, like I'm not sure how everything will go, but basically they have, the whole backend done. So it is just a question of time when they are going to release something like that.
Well, I know what I'm working on after this call. My slide deck.
okay, so that's really exciting. But I also want to point out, you just said bug fixes are coming. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I know I got a little shadow ban the other day because I said LinkedIn purposely broke LinkedIn so that we would all post about LinkedIn on LinkedIn again. Reviews, but I'm going to say it out loud right here for all of you. So we are all very excited about the bug fixes and the things that are coming. I know I have authored in. I use authored in. I would be lost without it. That's where I save all of my drafts now. So it's phenomenal. So you all know they're all there. Every time I log in, I never have to worry. But literally, authored in is what's allowing me to schedule my posts. I'm not scheduling outside of LinkedIn anymore or anything like that, but I'm using it through authored in. And I got that early because I had the authored in extension. So thank you for that.
I like the mobile preview part too. When my posts are like I like looking at what it's going to look like on a browser and on my phone before I hit post, because if listen, what I say on LinkedIn matters actually less it feels like than the format some days. So I'm like, oh, I can post something that's like one sentence. Everyone loves it, but I can post an essay. Everyone hates it. Oh, I can just swap the hook. Problem solved. And instead of guessing what it looks like and editing it after in a panic rush, I can like see it coming. So I really like that part. That I like a lot.
That's
And
why, by the way, we developed Outerdin. Like that's how we started. We realized
Yeah.
preview is super important. We built the tool for ourselves. It wasn't an extension. It was like we built it on our website and
Yeah.
we use it internally. And then we gave it to the people and they love it. And then we realized, okay, this can be, useful to more people than we can imagine. So
Well,
we
I
made
might
it.
lose a brand deal when I say this, but if you can start getting me some analytics data, I might cancel somebody else's subscriptions.
So can I? Okay, just a second. Okay,
I'm
so
okay with the
basically-
pitch.
but this is not a pitch. We are free.
It's a free pitch.
It's a free pitch. Yes. So right now we are working on 2 features. One is saving your old posts, not only that you publish via Outerdin, but any old post,
Ooh.
including all the analytics around your posts. So basically, and plus we are going to give you, like a lot of insights around your posts. And the most important part for us is that we are doing all of that compliantly, in a sense where Outerdin is not taking your cookie and we are not spamming LinkedIn algorithm. That is why it takes us like 5x more time to develop a feature. But however, like you are not risking your account by using Outerdin when you are risking your account by using 98% of other LinkedIn tools. So that was, that is huge value for us because my background is also in the compliance and we know how much people invest in their LinkedIn accounts and they cannot lose it, because they are using some random tool.
Yeah, I love this.
that makes me a little nervous. And it also makes me think that I could probably reinvest $20 or $30 a month into Authored from other subscriptions that I have going right now. So
Thank you. Yeah,
definitely-
when we start charging, we still don't know when that will happen, by the
let's
way.
talk about that. No, and if you're not using Authored is free right now. I know that this is just like a big Authored plug, but that's really how much we like this product. We're going to talk about how creating users that empower and grow your brand a little bit later, but this is kind of part of that conversation, y'all.
Yeah.
We really just like this product.
It's
Thank
true.
you.
I am not. Listen. I know I don't talk about brands for free, but I'm not getting paid to say this right now. I really do like the tool.
Evan's like, I don't talk about brands for free, and I'm just like, I don't get paid by brands, so if I say it, I mean it. Like we're going the exact opposite.
You'll get there. You'll get there. You'll get there. You're on your way.
Listen, I might hit 20,000 today. I had one random post go viral that I didn't think was going to go viral today, and it did.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. If I get really pissed off, people respond to my post.
Right. My best post for Rich when I was drunk, high, or angry.
I literally the other day I wanted to be like, somebody pick a fight with me on LinkedIn so that I have
Right.
to talk about.
Literally in Shield, I have tags where like, what was my mood or state of sobriety when I wrote this post, and like all of my best performing posts are when I'm in my least professional state of mind.
I post something, I'm like, I'm so mad, I just have to get it out. And most people would probably click delete, and I click post, and it's like, okay, there we go.
Yeah, just watch the news for a little bit, or watch a podcast or a webinar from someone you disagree with. Ooh, the content you'll write after that is flawless. There's your tip. Okay, I can leave now.
Okay, so talking about content and all these things, let's move into social selling, because that's something that is very important to a lot of people on LinkedIn. Evan, I'm going to pop you up here because, sorry, but we're going to talk to Evan.
I hope no one gets motion sickness.
Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. But if you don't know Evan, if you don't know Evan, what are you doing?
I was like, where are you? Who hurt you?
Right? My show. If you don't know Evan, but I want Evan to talk a little bit about social selling and what makes you so good at it.
I think that I'm a nerd. So I look at everything very big picture. At the end of the day, I'm a marketer, but I've been touted by my therapist and by business coaches for thinking a lot like an engineer. So everything I do is very science driven. So I think of things like in layers. I think people forget that with social selling, it's not synonymous with personal branding, but the two work very well hand in hand. And I always looked at like, well, how do celebrities build their career, right? They hustle really hard. They take chicken shit gigs at the beginning of their careers, right? They hate it. They deal with things that aren't fair. They bite the bullet, but like that's what gets them the groundwork, right? And everything is thinking like, well, what does this unlock? It's not about what doors are open, but what doors will this door lead to? Everything is thinking about in a flowchart sense. So I'm like, okay, well, that's been working since the dawn of time. So why aren't salespeople taking this same logic? So I moved that over to my career working in marketing and sales. So for me, it's like, okay, my end goal, now I do what I wanted to do for a living 5 years ago. I wanted to work in community partnerships 5 years ago. I was a community marketer at age 13, making websites of 25,000 to 250,000 members. So I had the experience in like the VR gaming space, but bringing that over to B2B SaaS, these stuffy boomers don't understand my resume, so that doesn't mean shit to them. So I had to start all over. So I took a job as an insurance agent, prospected there to businesses. Then I took a job at an insurance technology company. See where I'm going with this? 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Then I took selling to VC-backed tech startups. That was on purpose. Because then I worked at a VC-backed tech marketing startup selling to insurance agents. Full circle. Then I took a job at a VC-backed tech startup selling to VC-backed marketing people. So once again, keep going, right? So everybody's like, Evan, how did you book so many meetings when you were a BDR at insert company here? I'm like, because that pipeline that I generated 3 companies ago, I just copy and paste it to every single company while adding pipeline on top of it. So there are people that are in my connections that I have booked 6, 7, 8 demos with before. I already know I don't have to do any of the bands, I don't do any of the qualification. I already know everything about them. That allows me to pitch immediately, not a pitch slap. Think of it like a friend who knows that you have a problem and they're solving it. My friend Marshall works at a skincare company. I have rosacea and seborrhea. He knows this. Anybody who knows me in my personal life knows this. So when he goes, Evan, I notice you're struggling with your skin again. Here's a product I think you'll work with. That's not a pitch slap. He's earned the right and the credibility. So what I've done is, well, it's hard to do that at scale. So I'll just start it while I'm really young. And then I'll just keep these people in my back pocket so I can just... I've got a person. So it's all about making sure that you are the person I got a guy, I got a gal, I got a person for this. That is the best version of social selling you can do, is when you look at this from a long haul game. I look at my career the same way Jennifer Aniston looks at her IMDb page. Everything she does is comedy. It could be an action comedy, a drama comedy, a horror comedy, a romantic comedy. It's a comedy. That's the one thing that stays the same. Same thing for me. So that is the best possible trick to social selling. It's also the hardest possible trick to social selling. But that is what separates the people with a PhD versus the people that dropped out of high school. And by the way, as somebody who supports dropouts, don't take that sentence too literally, okay? I am a dropout.
I hear you. And I agree with you. I don't necessarily think of my career as a comedy, right? Like that, I wish.
Yeah, and you know what I mean.
I think of myself as like the fixer. I can fix it for you. Like, tell me what you need and I can fix it. Or I can find someone who can fix it. I can connect you with the right person. And I want to meet a little bit of everybody because I want to be able to say, hey, Evan, I can't help you with this, but I know 10 people who are actually qualified who can. And let me do the right thing and put you two together. So that's how I like to think of it. It's just fixing problems.
Yeah, you got to find a way to spin it that's on brand for you as a person. I was talking to Andrea Pereira at Rocket Science Branding about this recently, where I wouldn't focus on like the dollars. I would focus on like the number of conversations I was having, whether or not you were qualified, because you never know who you know knows. I've met CMOs through janitors. I've met VPs through receptionists. I will book a meeting with you if you're the ICP. I will book a meeting with you if you are affected by the ICP. I will book a meeting with you if I know you are friends with or married to or interact with the ICP in your personal life. Hell, I'll book a meeting with you just because I know you live in a town where the ICP lives. That's all qualified to me. And if you're a salesperson teaching your sales team to not do that and just book with the qualified ICP, you are leaving money on the table.
Yes, you are. Ivana, what do you
I'm thinking how we are leaving a lot of money on the table right now because we are not.
You'll get my invoice later.
Yeah. So I'm like, yes. Yeah, but it's maybe good that I'm not coming from the sales industry. So, regarding, by the way, one thing that I really want to mention, and because I'm thinking about that all the time, is Lauren, like your headline. I'm like, if I can't, my network can. I think that is the best headline that I ever saw, and I'm like, wow, So that's really, I'm like, I want to meet this person, So that was, I don't know how we met, but I'm like, I really want to meet this person. So regarding social selling, I cannot talk much in a sense where I'm not coming from that space. I learned most of the stuff by basically trying a lot of stuff on LinkedIn and understanding what works, what doesn't work, and then trying to reverse engineer like what I did wrong. Because to be honest, like about a year ago, I pitch slapped like 100 people, and then basically I had like 5 responses. And then I, like 2 months or 3 months ago, when I realized what I did, I basically wrote them a message and I say, I'm really sorry that I pitch slapped you. So, like I just felt so bad about that. And
I love that
about it, and I was like, I can't live with that. And like,
I think I would book a demo with somebody who apologized for their bad pitch. I seriously, if you are listening to this and I've told you no, apologize and I'll book.
I didn't know what am I doing, so, and I got like a few responses and they were like, oh, nice, so, at the end, and that was, by the way, for my first startup, so that I'm not working on anymore, but that is the startup why my co-founder and I came to LinkedIn, and that is why I love that story, even though, like it wasn't successful. So regarding social selling, I can say what works for me as a co-founder or founder of a startup is basically you need to understand that, especially when you are building your network. And I came here with a network or maybe like 1,500 to 2,000 people, but nobody was in the group that I was targeting at that moment. So my idea was I need to give much more than before I even ask for something. So that's how everything started. And all the time, whenever, like we are right now getting a lot of, like requests or, like even questions that are pretty simple and not related to our tool. And, but I believe that if you give that at some point, that person, as Evan mentioned, like is going to tell to another person or to their community, or they're going to introduce you to someone, or maybe nothing will happen, like you don't need to close or to, be successful in every single conversation. And that is how I believe we should treat LinkedIn networking and any kind of a networking. Like people understand and realize like, okay, you are there and you're really trying, even if when you are making mistakes, like they are fine with that. What they hate is when they see that you're trying to, take something from them, get for yourself. And when they even, like even a small hint or like bad emotion is going to ruin your reputation in that community. So that's what I realized, and that's how that's how I personally approach. And that's why I believe that transparency about all of this is important.
Yeah.
I think you just segued us right into creating user relationships that empower and grow your brand.
Yeah.
Because really, that's what you're doing. You're making evangelists of people who are huge fans of what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Well, we are trying because we realized, again, my background is not in sales and my background is not in marketing. My co-founder is a developer and he's amazing, 20 years of experience in development, but again, no experience in sales and marketing. So, and we are coming from the small country in Europe. And we
sometimes that makes you the best at it, by the way, because you got no bad habits.
Yes. And we have these surnames, I'm Todorovic and he's Pantic. And you're like, when you see all of that, of course, you have some kind of, like a distance. So what I realized is basically I need to get into DMs and to talk to people. I need to get into comments. Some of the strategies that I basically used is we knew that but there will be some bugs in Outerden. But we didn't want people to realize that, or we didn't know that to have like a big bug or, like to lose drafts or something like that. So our idea was to, first of all, to address all big potentially big risks and to try to solve them before we release. And the second one was basically to read the hell out of comments. And even when they are in German, in Spanish, in Polish, in Czech, like I'm translating in Google Translate everything and then writing my answer there, translating back to their language, and then posting that with small PS, like, apologies, I'm not using your language. However, like, I hope this will, if the comment is in language X, I will probably respond in that language as well. So, and that is when, like, we had like a few people where when we literally like made some mistakes, and they were like, this is the best customer experience or like user experience that we could imagine. We didn't tag you, we didn't tag Outerdin, we were writing in our language, you're not speaking our language, however, you are helping us in comments and transparently saying, okay, yes, this is a bug, let us fix that.
Yeah, so it's good karma.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Evan, I'm going to let you talk in just 1 second because people pay you to talk about their brand. I just want to tell you really quick, I'm in a private WhatsApp group, and someone mentioned in there that they were having an issue with Authored In. And someone responded, like, did you reach out their customer service? And they did. And within 5 minutes, they were like, oh my God, Authored In is amazing. They got back to me. And it was just like, this is a private group of 600 SaaS people. And they're talking about your product and how great your...
Where the hell's my invite?
I don't know how I'm in this group, Evan. I'm probably not supposed to be talking about it right now. Okay?
What's the name of the group?
I can't talk about
Drag them! Cancel them!
Let Evan talk now because Evan, I'm just going to move right past that. Brands do pay Evan to talk about them, right? So, Evan, what makes a brand someone that you're actually like, you actually give a shit?
So there's a...
Other than the money.
Well, let me make it very clear. I will never work with a brand that I don't want to work with, and the amount of money that I will accept and or charge, those are two different sentences, by the way, from a company is also incredibly indicative by my relationship with the company. So I won't just charge you less because you're a younger, earlier stage company, but I might charge you less because I'm going to do less with you because I'm still in the early stages of building that relationship. It's comparable to dating. Like, I'm not going to buy a house with you on the first date and get married, right? Most we're going to go out for sushi and drinks, right? So my commitment level dictates how much I'm going to charge a client or be willing to do with a client, which also dictates what I charge. There's also just some good karma things that you do. For context, Lauren is not paying me to be on this, and I never did. Lauren, did I ask you to pay me?
Evan never even brought up money once. I said, would you please be on my show? He said, book it, and I got you. And he did all for me. And all I had to do was ask. And I'll be honest, like, I try to show up for you too. But that's this give and take of LinkedIn, people.
Yeah, you can't keep everything behind a paywall. I do a lot of podcasts for free. I do a lot of podcasts for pay. I do a lot of shows and stuff for different reasons. And it depends on the mutual benefit, right? I know that the amount of benefit that Lauren and I, or Ivana and I, or the three of us are going to get from this is pretty equal. So therefore, I know that there's no need for me to put more weight on one end of the scale to balance it out. So that is one of the things that I think if you are either the person on the receiving end of this conversation or you're the person leading the conversation like Ivana is over at Authored In, right? You really need to think about the scale rebalancing act of it all, right? If you're going to ask someone to earn the right to be your fan and talk about you, but then there's earn the right to be your fan and talk about you regularly or sending to a CTA, right? That scale's already been lopsided versus the original, right? So strong brands are really good at knowing like where those are. And Authored In has done a really good job so far because I've been seeing you pop up everywhere and I'm not getting the vibe that you're paying people, which by the freaking way, that doesn't mean that they like your product less reasons. As long as you're partnering people that actually like your product, I will never, and any good influencer will never take money for a product they don't like. So I don't even have to have used it already. You can pitch me the product, I'll play around with it, and then we'll talk. There's also that too. So I think that's how most of my brand deals come about typically. It's usually in that order. So I think as long as you understand it's a good karma play, it's a good, if you provide good service, they'll take care of you back. If you take care of your customers, they'll take care of you. You take care of your employees, they'll take care of your customers. You're just kind of doing that in public. I also like the fact that, and Ivana, you will know this better than me, but I'm guessing by doing the way that you're doing, you're getting strong product feedback, which allows the product to be better. It also allows the product roadmap to be better. It allows for the hiring roadmap to be better. That's why more and more companies are hiring community marketers and evangelists and people that just get social media, which is not synonymous with social media manager. Ask Marioli. Those are two different things. That she's great at this too, but they're hiring them earlier. They used to wait till Series A, Series B, Series C. Now this is a part of the founding team. This is a part of like the minute we start shipping this thing, we have to start doing this because this affects the product roadmap, the development, the research, the everything else. It affects how we hire when we get our Series A. So I'm really excited because this seems like the first full year where people are like, the light bulb went on universally. Everyone finally got it. So now everyone's finally like putting gas in the tank. I think 2023 will be the time where people go from idea to execution full blast. It's about to get real competitive.
Yes, it is. Are you, Ivana, are you seeing this with like Authored In and with other founders? Is this actually becoming something that founders are saying this is important?
Yeah, yes. I also I'm getting a lot of questions, usually like even from my friends, who are building or willing to build a brand or a product, or they have a product but they don't have really a brand, and they are asking me like, okay, usually it's about fears, like, and a lot of and a lot of people are having fears around like, what if someone says something negative, which will definitely happen. What will happen if like they found a bug, like what are you going to do? What happens when you don't respond to a support request? Like it happened to us like a few times. And like what can you do? You can first of all apologize and say, this is definitely not the way how I'm doing my business, so please, like we are going to help you and we are really sorry. And people understand that, because when you are there, when you are transparent, when they are asking you questions that you don't really like to be asked, and you are answering to them, even though maybe they won't like the answer, that's the way how
Yeah.
you need to approach. However, I personally had a lot of like limitations and boundaries, and like sometimes I feel anxious, but I'm like, okay, I need to step there to say what I think, and to be transparent with everyone. And people care about you personally and also a brand much more, even when they don't like the answer. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. Like if you're all about everything is perfect, everything is nice, we are the best, you are the best, like nobody will trust you for real. So
No.
not many companies are doing that on LinkedIn. Obviously on Twitter it is much different, and I hope that more companies will get into LinkedIn, will get into comments, will start to talk to the users even when they are tagged when something is wrong.
Yeah.
And and then they will build a community on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
I
love that.
I always like to tell people, if you can put yourself where your customers at,
Yeah.
and just pretend you're that customer who paid for this service or who lost that thing or whatever their problem is, put yourself in their shoes for 5 minutes and feel that, and then respond. Don't get defensive. Don't get mad. Don't say, well, my product's great. Stop and feel the emotion that your customer's feeling, and then you can respond accurately. But if you're not willing to feel their emotion with them, you have no business responding to them.
Yeah, yeah. That's also another reason why companies are doing the whole community marketing play early, because that's usually who knows how to do it. And also, it allows for the developers to do what they do best. A good community marketer is like the ambassador for a nation, right? I'm not going to do a ton of with the information, but I know who will. And it'll be my job to get it and translate it and respond and do that in both directions, right? I'm not a developer. I'm not an engineer. There's a lot of things that Ivana's doing that if you explained to me, I would just sit here going, I would have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And rightfully so. We're playing our aces, right? So, but my job would be to take, hey, this person said this is broken. I don't even know how to solve this. I might, but it sounds like it's a bug issue, right? So I can translate it to you. You can translate it back to me. You can take it from technical speak to non-technical speak, vice versa. So either A, do it yourself. B, get someone to do it for you. And it could be because you don't know how. It could be because you're running out of time. It doesn't matter what your why is. Just do it. I would just like Ivana and Lauren, you both said it yourself, right? I would rather be told something that's not so great to hear, but it's the truth. I think we can all think to times in our life where people have kept things from us because they were worried it would upset us. I'd rather be bummed than have information omitted from me that would have benefited me from knowing, no matter how large scale or small scale it may be. If I had to think about drama or hurt feelings in my life, in and out of work, even down to being a child, most betrayal and most bad juju comes from omission, not from telling me a lie. Actually, both are bad, but if I had to pick, lie to me over keeping something from me. Shouldn't do both, but not doing anything is worse than doing something malicious or not true, because it just shows me how much I matter to you. It shows me your character. It shows me where I fall on your priority list. And that's very hard to repair. And even if you've dropped the ball, like, oh, we should have replied in 2 days, it's been 2 weeks, acknowledge that. That if you keep, there does come eventually a point, but I think most people are, contrary to popular belief, decent human beings. Right? So if you go to a restaurant, server's like, I just got triple sat, so I apologize, drinks might be a second. I'd rather hear that from the server than watch the server be in the weeds and not tell me. By the way, I've been a server.
Me too.
Yeah. Tip your servers! At least in the United States where they have tipping culture, which, by the way, tipping culture is awful and racist, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't tip. That means you should tip while we fix the issue. You're welcome.
Agreed.
There's my plug.
Agreed.
Yeah. If you're tipping less than 20% in the United States, fuck off.
Ivana, I want to bring you back up really quick because Matt had a question about Authored In. So I want to bring it up. Is it separate app from LinkedIn? So how do people use Authored In?
So Authored In is an extension, or let's say it is a way to read the LinkedIn website and to have more features. So you should download it from Chrome Store and then create an account on authoredin.com. After that, when you click Start a Post, you will see an Authored In editor. So we are not removing a LinkedIn editor, but we are putting our editor above the LinkedIn editor. And then there you can see a preview of your post. You can add formatting, bullets, emojis, and save multiple drafts. The whole idea with Authored In is basically that we are not automating any activity, as I mentioned. So everything that you do is basically copied directly into LinkedIn editor. So when you remove Authored In or disable, you will see all your information there. So that's how it is. Basically, if you imagine it, it could be the same as having a separate website, but we are copying information from that website to LinkedIn editor and not you.
Perfect. And then he had another question. Is it similar to Hootsuite?
So not really. Yes and no. First of all, we are integrated into LinkedIn, and we are just adding more features on top of the features that LinkedIn is giving. The same as Buffer, they have a separate platform where you log in, you have other stuff there, and everything that they are doing is basically done through APIs. So they are scheduling your post via API. They are getting analytics from through API, etc. We are not doing anything like that. Whatever you do, when you click on a post button, you are clicking it into LinkedIn. So that's why when you publish via Authored In, there is no difference. It is not a scheduled post until you schedule it. So there is no difference how between Authored In and using just a native LinkedIn editor.
So you won't lose your account. And Lauren has a good point. Tip your service people, especially over the holidays. I'm telling you, if you are a person who goes out to eat on a holiday, and this is me too. Hold on, Evan. I don't want you to be up here. I have to own this. I went out to eat on Thanksgiving. I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to clean, but I tipped 100%. So you're going to go out to eat for the holidays and you live in the U.S. make sure you're tipping your server. They don't want to be there serving you. They want to make bank. So make it worth it for them.
Yes,
All right.
of course. Well, it's karma. We did talk about karma here too. Listen, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes. I mean, it's your life. Don't hide from who
Literally.
you are. And then we're going to go into this best topic I think I've ever had on the show. Let's be honest. I'm so excited. This is only like episode 6. We're going to call it 5 because we had to cancel one. But oh my God, how to not be boring on LinkedIn, Karen.
Where should I start?
I mean, you're going to start, so you get to pick.
I think it's my biggest complaint with the B2B world specifically, especially in software and tech and those adjacent, is that the definition of professionalism usually means like not being yourself. They go, well, it's a filtered version. There's filtering and there's curating, okay? Curation is really what you should be aiming for, okay? There are a lot of things in my life that I don't advertise, not to hide. I don't care. You ask me, I'll answer. But it's more of a, some things just feel sacred, if that makes sense. I am a polyamorous man. I have 4 partners, and there are just certain suitable for work things that I have outside of my work life that I just don't want to talk about because I want to keep those memories between me and my friends. Think of it like going to a concert and choosing not to take Snapchats or Instagram reels of it and just wanting to have those memories, and the only people that will know what you're talking about are the people that are with you, right? It creates that bond, right? So the things that I don't do that with, those are the things that you all get, right? The people in this call, the people in this chat, the people who follow me, right? And to me, that means that I'm going to get people that are, attracting my tribe that way, right? There's going to be people that disagree with what I'm saying. There's going to be people that are offended, if anything, by what I'm saying. There's going to be people of all over the spectrum of agreement to disagreement, loving and hating of what I'm doing. But that's because I'm not for everyone, and I'm okay with that. Professionalism, I think, is being redefined as I'm curating the parts of my life that are most important to me and I'm willing to display, and you get to choose that threshold. And you can choose how strategic or not strategic you want to be with it, depends what your goals are, and using those as tools to attract your tribe, which also means repelling those you don't want in your tribe. So, for me, like, I will talk about the polyamory. I will talk about my certain travel plans and X, Y, and Z. And if some people think that's oversharing, great. I don't care. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to love me. You don't have to work with me. You don't have to pay me. I talk about being polyamory. The amount of times I get slut shamed for it. Like, I don't care. It's fine. Who cares? That's your problem, not mine. You're usually single when people do that anyway, so maybe you should ask why you're still single. So, and I got 4 partners. So, but it's one of these things where I think that's the first trick, is understanding that professionalism is just about being honest with yourself and marrying that with being good and delivering on everything that you say you're going to do. So not only am I giving my authentic self to people, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. When I say I'm going to do it by a certain time, I'm usually early. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well. I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm going to say no to things within reason. I'm going to say why. Like, listen, I want to, but bandwidth, right? I'll be transparent. So those, I think, are the new definitions of professionalism. And that allows freedom for personality. That allows freedom for humor. That allows freedom for innocent mistakes. And that's where it stops being boring. So I know it's a long-winded answer, but you have to get all those first bits right to allow for freedom to stand out, for freedom to not be boring. If you're someone who swears off the clock, swear on the clock. Great, because the people who don't want to swear on the clock, they won't follow you. That's fantastic. Great. You want to attract the right people. You'll get more no's, but you'll get better yeses. I'm a quality person over a quantity person. I don't have follower goals. I have who's in my following. I care about that. Do they like what I'm saying? What's their job title? What's their world? I don't care about how many. I care about who wants to. So that is what's really going to help people go from standing out to not being boring. That's for personal branding. We could do a whole different TED Talk on companies, but that's people. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, a lot of people, in my opinion, are boring on LinkedIn because that's the way it's always been done. And if you're doing something because it's the way it's always been done, you're the first one who is going to fail. Pattern disruption is a thing for real. Stop what you're doing. If every time you go out of your neighborhood, you can turn right or left, right? If every time you can turn right or left, but you always turn right and go around the block to the right, tomorrow go out and turn left. Turn freaking left. What if the house at the end of the street is painted blue now and you never know? I don't know. What if Tommy's best friend lives down there and you see a soccer goal in the yard? Like, there's so many little random things you'll never notice in your life because you just do things the way it's always been done. And that's boring as shit. So don't do that on LinkedIn, okay? On LinkedIn, be fun, be yourself. I literally talked about pooping in a post on LinkedIn today.
I talked about getting shit-faced and stoned in this call already.
Somebody already commented, okay, get high and drunk, check. Like, okay, if that's the lesson you took from
I love a good gay joke. Please DM me good gay jokes. Comment below. Like I love when people have fun on LinkedIn. No, I spend how much time at work? I want to have fun.
And I use the hashtag all the time, laughing on LinkedIn. Ivana, do you see people like laughing on LinkedIn? I'm using Authored to schedule my funny posts when I want to be serious.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, like I believe that 90% or maybe more of the content is boring, and not only because it's not funny, but because it's boring per se. You know, like, and because you have right now ChatGPT and people are literally like writing their post and then like posting there, and it takes like 1 second. Congratulations. So I think that, you know, like there are like from the moment where we are right now to the moment what you both are talking about, it is, you know, like it's a huge, you know, like we have thousands milestones between. So I believe that literally we need first to address like, okay, so what does it mean to be boring? Why are you conservative? You know, like why are you talking only about X in that way? Because, you know, like a lot of people like really are mirroring personal brands are not really personal brands. They are mirroring what is happening on their company pages. So, you know,
oh God, don't even get me started.
You are giving, you know, like all of that, you know, and then the funny thing is, because we did a small research with like, I did with like 35 people that I know, and that are like, some of them are content creators, some of them are not. But I saw their post, and then I asked them, okay, so please just scroll through your feed. I just want to see how you are reading, you know, like, and the exact post, the similar post that they are posting, they didn't read. You know, they would just scroll, you know, and then what they read is something that is interesting. And then like, okay, but look at your post, you know, and it comes content that you're posting, format that you're posting, you know, like thousands of hashtags, links, whatever, you know, like I think that people don't really understand that what they are creating is really for people. And yes, professional marketers, professional copywriters are better at that. But when you just go into some space, you know, recruiting space, like that's my favorite space, because I'm like, this is your native place and you're writing, I have a job open or we are hiring post with a link. I'm like, I can't believe like this is happening. So one part of Outer Lane is definitely to try to educate and to tell them how to do it, you know, and not, you know, like just to help even, you know, to improve it a bit. It won't be the best post, I'm sure, you know, like it won't have a lot of personality, but at least it won't be as bad as it is. So unfortunately, we really need to empower a lot of people, you know, to, you know, understand what is good and to understand what is needed, and then to try to improve. You know, when they start seeing some results, you know, they will start, I hope, to change their behavior and to, you know, introduce some personality, introduce their opinion about something, you know, say something that they don't like, whatever they feel is, whatever they are comfortable with, but on their side that is providing really any value, you know, like nobody cares about your link and that you were on a conference, really, like nobody cares about it.
Yeah, no one cares. It's the why and the how, you know, that's what really matters, I think. Yeah. I think also, don't get not being boring mixed up with, oh, so now I have to be a comedian. It doesn't, you don't have to do that. I've had, unfortunately, I do a lot of social selling, personal branding, like private coaching, and I'll have people, like, their question is like, well, what if we're just not as funny as people like you or Chris Brogg or Zoe Hart or Shannon Salas? I'm like, congratulations. I know a lot of people that do very well on LinkedIn that aren't comedically inclined, for lack of a better word. Not being boring does not mean being funny. It doesn't mean being hilarious. It usually means having a good sense of humor. Those are two different things. I would say both Ivana and Lauren in this conversation, I can confirm you both have a great sense of humor, right? So
For my side, I will tell you, like, I don't think I have a good sense of humor. I'm like,
you
I
haven't
never,
quit this call and you've been on it with me.
I tried to post like a few times. I tried to create some memes or something. It was disaster, and I was like, and I posted it was like cringe. So I deleted. But
no, that's fantastic. Cringe humor is a thing. Gen Z loves it, and also
really
you got to keep in mind too. Sense of humor doesn't mean you're the joke teller. So I used to be a stand-up comedian, something I don't talk a lot about. But
so bad, Evan. You gotta. One day I'm gonna get drunk. And we're gonna go do stand-up comedy.
Oh my goodness. I do it better when I'm high. But one of the things that I think that people get mixed up when it comes to sense of humor is that they think that means joke telling. It really is more about your ability to volley and play. So for example, like when I make jokes and you get the point of the joke, not just that it's funny, but like a lot of the types of humor that I do is very observational. It's very timely, very relevant. That's why like I wouldn't ever do like a stand-up special, right, if I was doing it full time, because the fact that it wouldn't age well, not that it become offensive, but it wouldn't make sense, right? So if you're able to pick up on that and continue the conversation, whether that's with another joke or to go, aha, that's right, and then add more value to it, that's a sense of humor, right? People like that because that means that you're paying attention, you know what you're talking about. And if you're smart enough to take my joke and source the facts out of it, that's great, because newsflash, by the way, most comedians are lying. That's the joke. It's called truth adjacent. It's literally a thing that comedians do. Do you really think all those things that happened to Kathy Griffin or Whitney Cummings actually happened? No! One thing and that whole thing happened, and then just added exaggeration to it. So 90% of what I say is truth adjacent. But everyone, I don't get canceled for it. Why? Because if you're smart enough, you'll know where the truth is in that, and that usually comes out in Ivana's replies to what I'm saying in this conversation. That comes out in what Lauren is saying and she responds to me, and vice versa. That is a really good way to demonstrate you have a good sense of humor and that you're not putting on a show. It is impossible to do what both of you two ladies are doing here if you are faking it. It's impossible. It's not something a human being can fake and succeed at. It's not a thing. Unless you're making a movie, maybe. But, so therefore, that's what I look for when I work with people. It's like, when I tell a joke, I don't need you to tell me a joke back. I just need, your response lets me know what kind of human being you are. And once we get past that, like, oh, you're someone that's easy to work with, now I want to know, okay, now, when you are easy to work with, do you get the job done? And that's true professionalism. That's how to be professional and not boring. It's, okay, you're easy to work with, I enjoy working with you, and I don't dread the results, and I trust you. It's that merriment of the two. I think previous generations, it was like, let's skip that first step and pretend that we're all on an even playing field and do this, which is a really good way to gatekeep people of other cultures out of the room, basically, for lack of a better word. So the more audacious you are, the more grandiose and boisterous you are, the more you remove those walls and the more you remove that friction and barrier, and you allow for conversations that would otherwise not be heard or not be had or would be uncomfortable, but now they have what I call like a social lubricant of some humor to make it easier for folks. So unless you're me, I like to find the people that don't deserve the social lubricant and give them sandpaper.
Hey, I agree with you. I tell people all the time, like, there's nothing like a woman scorned. And when you piss me off, especially because I use LinkedIn as my diary, I think, who is it I don't like? Oh, I don't like Lenza AI right now. I'm fighting with them.
God, don't even get me started. We can do another episode of that.
Customer service, okay? Listen, like, you can't have a good product that takes money from people and have horrible customer service.
And sells data to countries that are trying to kill us.
And not for nothing, half of the pictures I got back looked like I should be in a porno. I was like, what am I going to do with these? I just paid.
And now they're all being in a porno, but if that's not your goal, that's a problem.
Use that for my LinkedIn content.
I mean, there's people who work at Pornhub corporate on LinkedIn.
I'm not posting that on my LinkedIn.
That's not your ICP. Yes.
My line. they also didn't look like me, but there's nothing like a woman scorned. And like I tell people all the time, a lot of my content comes when I'm pissed off. If you piss me off, I don't work for a corporate company. We have an HR, but there is no HR.
I got to add a comment from Andrea Pereira today that is on note to this.
We got to talk about this too. What did you say, Evan?
I got to add a comment about Andrea Pereira today in a meeting. I work for Rocket Science Branding. She's the founder. And we were talking about how most of the people I collaborate with or work with are women that are proud to voice whatever the hell they want to voice, as they should. The joke was, oh, just a queen among queens. And I was like, do I be offended or complimented by that statement? The comment to you all. I love it. No, I there's, to your point though, there's nothing better than just someone letting it rip authentically, unfiltered on LinkedIn. I love a good roast on LinkedIn. I love a good 10 minutes of just screaming and fighting on LinkedIn, because that is honestly where the most value comes from.
I get so many people who are like, I love your raw content on LinkedIn. I'm like, can you use a different word? And okay, but Evan, we have to talk about Michelle's content. Evan didn't know what he was getting into. Neither did Ivan, I'm sure. I'm sorry, guys. Michelle's comment. What if you were just resharing your company content as your brand? What would that do for you?
I would ask you, are you being told to do that by your employer?
Yeah.
There's that. Second thing is, if it's not your job to know what to do with your brand in conjunction with the company, blame the person whose job it is to guide you on this. So that's my preface before I go down this answer. This is to the people who are supposed to know better but don't. Don't make people do that. Don't encourage people doing that. And don't let people who haven't had one or two happen to them do that. You need to think of it like in-house influencer marketing. It's cliche and as oversimplified as that works, right? Everyone has their lane, okay? My content, I'm probably the bad example because I do it for a living. But if you are a AE I'll use a brand we all know, like Salesforce, okay? CRM, your ICP is salespeople. Great, fantastic. If you're an AE, but you don't really want to talk about sales things, right? On LinkedIn, you want to talk about DEI and hiring practices, whatever the case may be, right? There is a way to connect the dots between pretty much every topic in what you sell and or do. So, that employee might only know enough about how to get content out the door about the topic. They might not know enough on how to connect the dots every once in a while between that topic and what you do. Your company should have at least one point of contact who is an expert in that, and or a resource that they can go to who is an expert in that. Hi, I'm Evan Patterson. I have a rate card. But the point being is, it's not as simple as just tell everybody hit share. It's not just as simple as tell everybody comment, like, whatever. It's how they comment, what they commented with, why they commented. I would rather an employee share anecdotes or stories that include the tag to Salesforce. Like, so one day I was at a Salesforce event and X, Y, and Z happened. There's no pitch to Salesforce, but make sure to tag Salesforce. And then what happens is all those people who follow that person and viewed that post about Salesforce, about the story that happened at Salesforce, nothing to do with the company or the product, that's just the setting of where it happened, they're now more likely to see the post from Salesforce on their feed. That's how algorithms work. Newsflash, you should have learned that 20 years ago. So, therefore, when I make posts about anecdotes at Rocket Science Branding, when I make posts about anecdotes at other side of sales that have literally nothing to do with both businesses and what they sell and or do, I know you're now more likely to see the other side of sales posts in your feed. Also, the more I do that, and the more times you see that, and the more times you see Ashley Early and Brian Woodard doing the exact same play that I'm doing, that's all those dark social touches. That's those like 8 to 12 touches that none of us in marketing can ever track, ever will, and ever should, because then it's stalking and an invasion of privacy. Those are the parts that really move the needle. Billboards are a good example of this, right? We all know how many cars go down a freeway past a billboard, but we couldn't tell you what kind of people are in the cars. We couldn't tell you who actually looked. We couldn't tell you how many passengers were in it. We couldn't tell you who was the passenger that looked. There's no way in hell. All we know is that when we put the billboard up, this happens. When we take the billboard down, that happens, right? So there's your motivation to get this right. All of these people are billboards, and that's why Ivana shared back in the beginning of this episode. That's why LinkedIn's going to do features like promoting employees' content, because that post about I don't know, some funny anecdote that happened on the bus home from a Salesforce happy hour event that has nothing to do with the product, that's a post to boost because now more people are going to see Salesforce and that employee and that post, and that's another billboard on the freeway to closing a deal.
And that was something exciting where...
And by the way, I normally charge for that anecdote, so you're welcome.
Well, Evan, I wish I had like your Venmo down below so people could just like send you money for a coffee right now. I would.
Or you just go to the other side of sales and scan our QR code during our next episode and support that podcast, which helps make sales and marketing less, misogynistic and racist.
Everybody do that. If you haven't checked out the other side of sales, their podcast is awesome. I try to pop in when I can. I know I don't make it all the time. Normally I'm on a screen with the candidate, but it's the place to be if it's not Friday at 3. So
we don't do it on Fridays at 3, so there you go. We do it Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 3. literally, that's what we do.
Literally, so it all works out perfect.
That's why I'm here.
My company's scheduled a meeting next Friday at 3, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't think I can make that. I have a prior engagement, my show. But I want to thank you both so much for coming on. I really appreciate having you. We're in the last 3 minutes. I want to give you both one more chance. Is there anything else, Ivana, people need to know about Authored In? People need to know about you. What else is there?
1 minute is so little that I don't know what to say. But anyways, one thing is I really want everyone to create better content. If you want to do it, install Authored In. It's for free and it's in beta. And no, we won't charge in the next who knows how many weeks or months. So install it and start creating content. People are seeing 3 to 5 times better quality of the content, better engagement, reach, etc. I really believe that you should do it as well. So that's for the Authored In. And for me, you can follow me. I'm talking a lot about LinkedIn, inside topics, like stuff that you cannot easily find anywhere else because we are basically reading the code every day and seeing what are the changes in the code and then trying to interpret that for the people.
Fire. If you're not following Ivana, you're not doing anything right either. You're going to be living under a rock. Like if you're not following Evan. Evan, say one last thing. I know you have a number of brands that you read. You have the other side of sales. You have Rocket Science Branding. I feel like you are everywhere when I'm on LinkedIn. What's one last thing you want to say to the people?
Follow me, engage, and like. The best way you can support a queer content creator is don't just read my content and chuckle. Hit the damn like button.
Yes.
I hate my boyfriend does it. He'll be on TikTok. I'll scroll. Oh, that was funny. And then scroll back. No, I will grab the phone out of his hand, scroll back, hit like. And I was like, you just, that's how that person gets a bill paid. Okay. So take it from someone who knows. So anyways, hit like.
If you just lit a fire in me. If you ever DM me and say, oh my God, I loved your post and you didn't like my post.
I see some of you in the comments saying, Evan's awesome. I've never seen your name before in my life.
Who are you?
And you know, all the people that are commenting and liking your comments and your posts and sending you DMs, everything, right?
Exactly. I'm really good at remembering that shit. You have to be to do it while I do it for a living. But also, I will say, let's squeeze this in here. I am a big fan of Authored In. I'm not getting paid to say that. I love the tool. I think it's fantastic. Also, Ivana, I have someone non-spawn, not getting paid to say this. It won't cost you a thing. I have somebody I really think you need to meet in a good way.
Damn, we're making business happen on the live show. I always joke when it happens in the comments. I'm like, see, we didn't even have to go to the DMs. Today we're making shit happen on the live show.
And it's not a pitch slap. It's more of a pitch. It's more of a pitch shoulder tap. It's
Thank you. This might help.
You might need this.
Thank you so much. I'm going to be hounding Evan to help me make a rate sheet. I love you all. We will see you next Friday. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.
Bye.